Good day, everyone. My name is Franz H. Tumlos, taking BSED-1, major in English, from the School of Christ the King College of Science and Technology, EdUp Department. Today, I will be presenting to you my e-portfolio for the subject of Purposive Communication, Code GE3 PC. Let's get started. For the first page, I will be presenting to you the table of contents from prelim period to midterm, and lastly to the pre-finals period. Let's start with the prelim period. I'll be presenting to you the screenshots of my attendance from the week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, and lastly the week 6. And let's go ahead to the lessons and reflections. From the week 2, this is the first lesson. The way that our professor discussed is about the communication. So in this week, I learned that communication is a process of sharing information, the knowledge or meaning. To add some information, that communication has also four forms, such as verbal, which is the sounds and language, the oral, which is listening and hearing, nonverbal, which is the body language, etc., and lastly, the written, which is includes the text messages, emails, and etc. Let's go ahead to the week 3, which is the next lesson, which is entitled Communication Process. So in this week, I learned that communication process is a flow of steps that we follow to achieve a effective and successful communication. I also learned that noise can be a barrier from the source or the receiver. To add it, noise has a different types such as physical, physiological, psychological, and lastly the semantic noise. For the week 4, which is our group, discussed about the models of communication. I learned in this topic and also in this week, I learned from the topic that we report that we discuss is that communication is not just simply a communicating to other person, which is the sender and the receiver. Communication has different models that presented way back before, like Aristotle presented the linear type of communication. Let's go to the week 4 also, which is the other group discuss this. Communication barriers. Okay, from the week 4 communication barriers, which is the other group discussed this. And this week also, um, I learned the different barriers of communication. To be general, the barrier of communication are the things that get in the way of the message which is being received. They could be physical, like loud noise or loud music playing, or emotional, such as when a person is too angry or fearful to listen to another individual is saying, including the types of communication or the types of communication barriers. The next one, which is the communication breakdown, which is also this is one also from the other group discussed. In this topic or in this week is I learned that the communication breakdown is causes of the strategies of an effective communication. I learned that communication breakdown is a failure of exchanging information to other people. I also learned that the causes of communication breakdown and also the effective communication that is discussed. Week 6 is the social cultural dimension of communication. In this week, from the other group discussed also about the social cultural dimension of communication. I learned here that the communication is related to the adaptation of culture, gender, and aging, religion, and lastly, the social status of the individual. Social cultural communication is something that involves the social and the cultural aspects. Let's go ahead to the activities and the last page of the prelim period. So here are the two activities. Here are the two activities from within week 2 to week 6 of prelim period, which is the goals and expectation and the verbal, oral, and non-verbal, which is unwritten. And now let's go ahead to the midterm period. And here are also the screenshots of my attendance, which is I attend week 7, which is October 25, 2021. Week 8 we don't have classes, which is the holiday. November week 9, week 10, and that's it. Let's go ahead now to the next one, which is the lessons and reflections within the midterm period. Week 7, the communication and globalization. Professor Morris haven't teach us this yet, but for my understanding, global communication is a services have contributed to the enlightenment and development of the political process in a number of countries. From the week 9, which is the local and global communication in multicultural settings. In this week, I learned in this topic that in different cultures has different communication in it. There are words that are allowed to speak to your country, but when you say it to their country, it is not allowed. Technically to say, you need to know their culture to have a good communication. Not only the culture, but also the language of their country. Last for the week 10, varieties and registers of spoken and written languages. I learned in this topic that we have different language, whether it is written or a spoken language. It explains here the different types of registers, such as the jargon, and so on. Week 11, the evaluating messages and or images of different types of text reflecting different cultures. In this week, what I've learned here in this lesson is the reading critical text. You must have read carefully with a deeper understanding throughout your context. And from the and for the midterm period, we have the activities that we have done in this period. From the week 7, Professor Morris gave us the midterm activity or the first midterm activity for about the culture and global issues. For the week 9, um, different communication styles. From the week 10, discuss the concept of language variety. Week 11, define the critical reading in your own words, or the critical text in week 11. And that's it. And let's go to the pre-final period. Okay, so here are the list of my attendance or the screenshot of my attendance that I attended from the week 1, week 2, week 3, and the week 9. Lessons and reflections. Week 1. Convey ideas through oral, audio, visual, and web-based. So in this topic, I learned that, or in this week, I learned the topic that the visual aids are really helpful for everyone who needs to discuss their topics, especially for the students who will report. Not only for the students who will report, but also it will be a big help for the teachers to teach their students, using their visual aids. Since most of the students can learn through what they are seeing, and through what they are watching, and also through what they are hearing to their teacher or to their professors. For the week two, we have the communication for various purposes. So in this topic, I learned a different type of communication, such as the public speaking and so on. For the week three, which is the entitled communication for work purposes. So in this topic, I learned about the communication which is usually used in a workplace. Those are the jargons that is usually can hear within the workplace or a specific field through work. For the week 9, which is the communication for academic purposes. So in this week, I learned the methods of communication that are highly structured and generally used in pedagogical settings. Academic communication can include the words and structures used to express ideas as well as the methods by which ideas are disseminated. For the activities, um, within the pre-final period, here are some of my screenshots also from what I did for the activity. Week two, week one, week two, week three, and within the week nine. So this video, which is a video which is we need um to make a video proposing um or doing a video within the teacher education department, giving a idea of giving idea um to get a students also to the crisis in cultural science and technology to the head of department to choose the head of department. And I guess that's it. Again, this is Francis H. Tumlos. Here is my e-portfolio, and thank you so much.